watching Rock Titan TV, featuring Visigoth with lead singer Jake Rogers.
Alright, all you metalheads out there, I got a very special guest with us right now. He happens to be the frontman for a power metal band out of Salt Lake City, Utah. I'm speaking with Jake Rogers, frontman of Visigoth. Jake, how you doing, man?
So good. How are you, Scott?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right. Can't complain. We got a little bit of snow on the ground right now out in the Philadelphia region. What's it like out there in Utah?
Oh, it's freezing right now. I think it's like 23 degrees out, and I can barely see a mile out my window, maybe. It's freezing and foggy and snowing. Yeah.
Now,
of course, I live in the mountains, man.
Yeah, right on. Now, are you a skier at all?
I can ski and I can snowboard, but I don't do a whole lot of either, to be honest.
All right. Well, it's probably safer that way, you know, because we don't need you breaking any legs or anything like that, especially with the touring season, you know, coming up that I know you guys are going to be a part of here with, you know, the Conquerors Oath, brand new album you got coming out.
Is that a dig at the fact that I've just got on my cast for my broken leg?
Get out of here, man.
Oh, yeah, no, I broke my leg in a motorcycle accident like 3 months ago. I just got out of the cast.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. No, I had not heard that.
Oh, yeah.
Was that not all over your...
I thought maybe you were poking fun.
No, that's fun. Well, I mean, it's not funny, but it's ironic, I should say. So,
it's hilarious.
Yeah, right? I didn't see any of this on Facebook, man. I would imagine the guys would have been blowing this up big time.
Oh, I think there's some picture of us on our Instagram where I've got a broken leg. I don't know.
So what the heck happened, man? Motorcycle accident.
Yeah, exactly what it sounds like.
Oh.
Broke my ankle and my leg and tore a couple muscles, but it's all good now. I'm walking.
All right.
I'll be at 100% by the time we're on that tour.
Well, I was going to say, man, because, I mean, from what I understand, now I haven't had the pleasure of seeing Visigoth live, but I know you guys are somewhat theatrical in your shows, you know, you like to, represent, man. You put on a show, yeah?
Yeah, it's rock and roll, man. You can't just stand around, you know?
Yeah, right on. So your first full-length album, because I know you guys have done a lot of, you know, a lot of work. You've had some EPs and stuff out there. But your first full-length, The Revenant King, you had out there a couple years ago, and I guess that's, you know, most recently what you've been playing a lot of. And congratulations on the success of that, by the way. I know that things had gone really well. I heard a lot of good feedback, and, you know, I listened to the whole album myself and, you know, dug the official music video for The Revenant King, you know. But obviously what we're talking about now is Conquerors Oath, coming out in February, right around the corner.
That's right.
So how does it feel knowing that, you know, you got this new piece of work coming out here soon?
It's nice because I think that we're all pretty ready to play new material.
Yeah.
That last record came out like 3 years ago now. I
think.
Yeah. 3 years. Yeah. And so we've just been playing those songs for a long time, and it's really exciting to have new material. I think it's a little more representative of where we are as a band, and more representative of the songs we want to be writing, I think.
Okay.
Because that first record, like, a lot of those songs were really old. Some of them were a couple years old by the time we recorded the album.
Oh,
even.
wow.
Yeah, and so we, you know, a lot of the songs were us kind of learning how to write songs together as a band. This record is, of course, was all written after The Revenant King came out, so it's all more recent, more tighter songwriting, I think. I will hope. I hope people feel that way.
Right.
We feel like it is, so it's really exciting to have that, have new material to play. It revitalizes us as a band, and it makes us excited to get on the road.
Yeah, no, very cool. Now, you guys are on Metal Blade Records, so how does it feel to be associated with a label like that?
You know, it's pretty wild hearing from him in the first place. It was actually Alan Averill from Primordial.
Yeah. I've interviewed him.
Yeah, Alan's a great guy, and I've been a big fan of Primordial since high school. I listened to The Gathered Wilderness till the CD barely worked anymore. Back when that came out, when I was a high school kid. But he was actually the one that reached out to us on Metal Blade's behalf, which was really cool for us. And I mean, it's exciting. This is the label that released, Kira Thungal and Omen and Warlord in the 80s and Hallows Eve, and lots of bands that I personally listen to and own records by, and so it's really cool to be part of that legacy. They've got a lot of great bands, currently active on the roster too. So it's an honor, and it's been really cool.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Now, did I see that part of the production team that was involved with the Black Dahlia Murders Nightbringers was a part of Conquerors Oath?
I don't know.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I thought maybe in some of my poking around that I saw some of the similar hands that have worked with some of the other bands on the label. Were a part of Conquerors Oath. How was the production of that album? How do you feel that went versus the Revenant King?
The production was definitely, altogether, the whole thing went a lot more smoothly
Okay.
because we have more experience now recording, so we were more prepared. I think, and we had also had a clear idea of what we wanted the record to sound like. So it was a really better experience, I think, in general. In fact, I mentioned this in one other interview that I did recently. We never really talked about this a whole lot in interviews, but my health was actually really, really poor when we recorded the first record.
Wow.
I was having some pretty bad health issues, and I was sick for
wow.
almost the entire time we were recording it.
Oh my God.
This time around, my health is a lot better.
Well, you look healthy.
Yeah, no, thanks. Yeah, I made a lot of changes, but it's also just because of some health issues that are ongoing for me.
Okay.
That I've been conquering myself, hopefully.
Are you at liberty to share anything? Is there anything out there that you may be dealing with or have dealt with that could be helpful to the audience? Or would you like to keep that private? It's all good. I just figured, there's a lot of people out there suffering from different things, and, sometimes it's helpful to know that they're not alone, and especially when they have someone to idolize, such as yourself, not putting you on the spot.
When you put it that way, now I feel like I'm pretty private about that kind of stuff.
It's all
usually,
good.
But yeah, no, I guess now that you've asked like this, I have multiple sclerosis.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and so it's but hey, we still record, we're still on the road, and I make it work. But yeah, for the first record, my health wasn't doing too good. I was getting sick a lot.
Wow.
And this time my health was in great shape. So I was feeling better in general. I think it lent itself to better vocal performances overall. I had a lot more fun. The energy was just a lot better this time. I think I did all my parts in like 3 sessions. Pretty short and quick for me. Okay. So it was really good. I think everyone did a really awesome job.
Nice.
We had some fun. We did have some fun moments of somehow everybody's amps melted down the day we started recording. So Lee and Jameson both used these awesome Houston Kettner Switchblade amps.
Okay.
And we were going to use them to record the record. And we turned Lee's on. Lee tracked maybe half the rhythm track for the first song that we were working on, and the amp just died. There's multiple component failure. He had just got out of the shop too. It was we had gotten everyone's stuff tuned up in preparation for recording. His failed. Turned Jameson's on, and tube blew.
Oh my God.
We ended up having to go find a new rig the very first day of recording to keep things on schedule. Same thing happened to Matt's bass amp. Also, component failure the day that we started recording. So he ended up having to go and re-record half the bass tracks on the record.
Oh, good God, man! Now, do you guys have an amp sponsor or what?
No, we don't. We don't have any of that stuff.
Okay. All right. Well, for everyone watching right now, we need to get Visigoth an amp sponsorship, man. Well, is there any particular amps that you like to play on versus another?
Me personally, I'm not a gearhead at all.
No? Okay.
Jameson and Lee would have in-depth, nuanced opinions on that stuff. I wish Lee was here to talk about this.
Well, this is the season of giving, man. We are upon the Christmas season here right now. You know, we got to get some sponsors out there. Marshall, PV, whoever, man. You know, let's hook you guys up with some amps. That way, if you have another meltdown, you know, you guys will be good to go.
Yeah, hey, that would be fantastic. I mean, I I don't know if we're at that level yet, but it's fun.
Well, we are on our way. If you're not there, Jake, we are definitely well underway. And I mean, I guess one of those things that are going to help you guys just get bigger and get the word out there is this upcoming tour. I guess it's coming up in like March. You guys are going to be heading out to Germany.
Yeah. February and March. It's a European tour.
Okay.
I think we're going to Germany, Belgium, Spain, Austria.
Nice.
A couple of other countries. I can't remember the whole itinerary right now. I can pull it up, I guess.
Yeah. No, that's good. Well, we're gonna right in the lower thirds, right down here. We'll be able to share with everyone in case they are looking for some vacation destinations where they can go and check you guys out abroad. They'll be able to go out there and see. And then of course our European audience, they need to know what's going on with you guys too. So how does this all come about with the European tours? I mean, obviously. It's probably a little easier to plan when you're over here in the States, but who handles the touring when you guys are doing that?
So we work with Iron Grip Management.
Okay.
Which I don't know if you've ever worked with Night Demon, great band.
Yeah. Okay.
So Jarvis from Night Demon runs the little management company. And he's working with a couple of other great bands.
Nice.
It's the same management crew that works with Kira Thongal, Satan, Bewitcher's on there.
Okay.
It's really cool. It's a great cadre to be running in, and we're really fortunate. So
yeah. Now, have you toured over in Europe before?
Yeah, we've been to Europe.
Okay.
Yeah. This will be our second time over there. Actually, we played Keep It True Festival and Pounding Metal Festival earlier, like in April, and then played some dates in between on that one. So, this will be our second time over there. Really, really excited.
Yeah. Now, I did actually see some of that live performance from over there. So, yeah, now that's very cool. What do you think of the overall scene? Especially when we're talking about metal. Because I know that it may not necessarily be all that huge in Salt Lake City. I don't know how many local venues you got to jam over there. But, I know Royal Bliss over in your neck of the woods. But other than that, I'm not all that familiar with a bunch of bands over there in Salt Lake City. But I do know that the metal scene here in the States, not that it's bad by any stretch, but it's different, man. It's a totally different world when you get over there to Europe. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first touching on just Salt Lake itself, we actually have a really great local scene here. It's mostly black metal and death metal.
Okay.
Actually,
Nice.
It's mostly for extreme metal bands here, which is cool. We actually mostly play with those kind of bands.
Okay.
And a couple of us play in more extreme metal bands too on the side as well. So that's really kind of where Salt Lake City's strength is. Most of the local shows we play are with like death metal bands and black metal bands.
Okay.
And there's some thrash too. There's some good thrash metal bands. So it's actually a pretty cool scene, tight, small, and we're all friends. So
nice.
it's time. I think that heavy metal right now is actually in a really good spot. It's probably, I would say, in general, globally at its peak popularity right now since probably the 80s, which obviously I wasn't around for, but
rub that in my face, why don't you?
What was that?
Rub that in my face, why don't you?
Gosh, I wish I could have been there to see all these bands play and be there.
Oh man, now I feel old as hell. Yeah, no, the 80s were pretty solid, man.
Well, yeah, but it's huge now because it's become heavy metal is kind of going through this similar growing pains to what I think punk and goth have already been through, right? Where we have high fashion designers are making metal inspired clothing lines. You can walk into H&M and buy a Metallica and an Iron Maiden shirt that's pre-distressed and pre-vintage. You can, there's heavy metal gets referenced in pop culture and cartoons and TV shows. Which in a lot of ways is bad and frustrating. I think, for a lot of people whose hearts are really in it, because it can sort of water down maybe the overall quality of the genre, or it starts to lose maybe some of its core values. That's a whole different discussion. The positive side means a lot of younger kids are discovering heavy metal that might not have before, and so there's just tons of great bands popping up, and it has inspired maybe some guys who kind of had put their instruments down to pick them back up because they're realizing there's an audience now. Maybe they can start new bands or play shows, and because there's more of an audience, there's just a lot of opportunity for bands to be playing, to be meeting each other, and so it's really strong right now in a lot of ways as well. I mean, just in the United States, there's a huge revival of classic heavy metal, epic heavy metal, drawing from those classic USPM bands and epic heavy metal bands that sort of started it in the late 70s through the 80s. There's tons of great death metal coming out of the United States right now. Death metal's very strong, I think.
Yeah.
Well,
your label is a perfect example of that. I mean, you look at all the artists, that you're in company with on Metal Blade Records. That I know that's how it really started out. Brian Schlegel, being a big fan of British heavy metal, and then the whole LA scene and all that coming on, and keeping it alive. Like you're saying today. And it's funny hearing you talk about the strength of the metal scene. And I agree. I definitely agree. That said, it's kind of like, if you ask best practices, for instance, like if you ask someone, about best practices, you talk to 10 different people, you're going to get 10 different opinions on what those best practices are. You know what I mean? Like there's going to be some people, especially maybe some of the folks that are like maybe from the older, the older days of metal, where they'd say like, oh, it's dead. Rock is dead. It's all dead, but to your point, you're in it, you're just coming out with your second album for every
people who say no good albums came out this year.
Right.
Which I've been seeing a couple, I've been seeing that opinion floating around that 2017 wasn't a very strong year for, I think you just don't know where to look.
Sure.
Is what that tells me.
Yeah,
There's
I agree.
always awesome heavy metal coming out. Sometimes you just have to dig a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I feel like anybody who's really interested in this music has their ear to the ground. Like how many great albums came out on Crusoe Sir Records or Shadow Kingdom Records this year,
sure.
or Hell's Headbangers or Iron Bonehead has just been cranking like every week. A new incredible like black metal or speed metal record comes out. Right. It's just like there's so many releases this year. I've been approached about doing like top 10 listing. I don't even know where to start. There's so many great records.
Right.
So it's like I can barely keep up, honestly.
Yeah. Now, like you said, I think it's just a matter of how people can consume it. You know what I mean? Because it's not like it's necessarily on the radio. There's no stations that are going to be dedicated to playing a lot more of that hardcore underground, speed metal, power metal, black metal, death metal, whatever genre of metal you want to call it. I don't think that there's enough outlets dedicated to playing that, unless you're on serious liquid metal or whatever. It
doesn't need to be though. That's the great thing about heavy metal music is it's not supposed to be. It shouldn't be easy. It should require some digging. It should require some research. This is music that should require a very, very dedicated passion.
Right.
This should be music for the record collectors, the tape collectors, the CD collectors, in the words of Metal Lucifer, the heavy metal hunters. That's what this is. That's what this music should be for. So it's fine that it's not on the radio, and that's okay because that means when you meet other people, you go to shows, you see people in a good cool band shirt that you're excited about. Or you guys bond over the bands on each other's jackets and you start talking about your record collections, that there is that common ground and you're going to have, even if your opinions have some slight differences, that you're going to have more in common. Whereas, if it were just everywhere, which it's starting to be, I mean, there is also this, it's not maybe as outsider culture anymore as people would like to believe it is. And in some ways, it's kind of a bummer that it's losing that, but we'll survive it.
Well, do you think that if let's put it this way, if Visigoth went mainstream, would you consider that almost like insulting or offensive if you guys started getting caught up like in the mainstream media or anything? Do you like the idea that you're kind of more underground, I guess? I don't even know if that's the right term, but you know what I'm saying.
I mean, that's a weird question to answer. For me, the people, the fans that I'm the most interested in reaching are people who I would love, like, having beers with and listening to records with. And we've had the privilege of, like, playing in front of audiences and then getting invited to people's homes after the shows, where that's exactly what we got to do.
Right.
And just like listen to great underground heavy metal classics and have some drinks, just have a good time with other like-minded, heavy metal fans. And those are the kind of people I'm the most excited about reaching, And so if we got that big, which we're not going to, I don't see that happening.
Hey, man, you never know.
No, I just don't think we're not that kind. I don't know. That's not really what we're trying to do. We're just trying to emulate our favorite bands and hope we do an okay job of writing some songs that some kids like.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Well, you know what? That's a good segue. That's a good segue to my next question. Are there any particular bands, you kind of alluded to the 80s being a little before your time and whatnot. Is there anyone, from that era that you'd love to play with that you haven't? Is there anyone like on your bucket list of people you'd love to collaborate with even or tour with?
How much time do you have?
Seriously?
Well, okay, we got my number one bucket list for me personally, which is Manila Road. We got to play with. We've gotten to play with a couple times now. And they were a band. They were kind of maybe the band that really ignited this whole thing for me personally.
Okay.
I was in high school when I discovered them. I was getting into, I already had my Iron Maiden, my Judas Priest, my Bathory, my kind of more bands that you discover, entry-level bands, good, but entry-level bands that are obligatory discoveries for a kid getting into heavy metal rock music.
Gotcha.
But it was like Manila Road, Kirthungal, Omen, that and a couple other bands like Pagan Altar too, that were discoveries during that time in my life that completely blew the doors open for. There's this whole substratum. There's this world that exists beyond the more obvious choices that I could start digging into. And so it was the Manila Road was the original gateway to the subterranean for me.
Okay.
And so getting to play with them was a couple times now has been a huge deal for me.
Very
and those
cool.
guys are the best dudes too.
Very
They're just
cool.
the sweetest guys. And so that was huge. We got to play with Kirthungal too at a festival. So big deal.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, dude. No,
that's
perfect.
We
Yeah.
got to play a festival with Riot too, and Thunder
nice.
Steel was like an album that made me go, man, I want to try singing in a band, even though I've never sung before and have no business singing in a band. Like, I don't know. So I guess it's already kind of happened a couple times, and we're just really cool to be in that position. Because all these bands are so inspiring. Like, I still listen to the records, and I still get that, like, childish excitement. Like, holy shit,
That's
these
awesome.
songs are so good.
Right.
Like, I don't know, like, I cannot put on Thundersteel by Riot without feeling like I want to drive 700 miles an hour while punching through my windshield with a sword that's on fire. Like, I just, that whole record. Anyway, yeah, those are the bands that I'm excited about, and because they're all active now, because there's an audience for it, touching on an earlier point, you have the opportunity to see these bands at festivals now. So, guys, if you're watching this and you have not saved up to travel to one of these festivals where these bands are playing, do not put it off. You gotta go. go see these bands while they're still active. It's we have a big privilege right now.
Listen to Jake, people. Listen to Jake. The man speaks the truth.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, no, right on. All right, well, you know what? Just some closing thoughts, because I know you got to hit the road to Vegas here. But official music videos, man. Where does Visigoth stand on that? I know that you guys had your official music video for, the Revenant King. Anything to look forward to for, Conquerors Oath?
Yeah. We are supposed to make 1, maybe 2 music videos.
Okay.
I think we're not great at the whole music video thing. It's not really
You don't like being on camera. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and making that first video, that was fun because Jason from Eternal Champion, the singer of Eternal Champion, those guys are really good friends of ours. And Jason and I have been buddies for years.
Oh, cool.
He was in that music video. A lot of people don't realize that was him.
That's funny.
Yeah, and so we had fun making it. We just didn't really have much of a budget, and we're not, we have some more resources available to this time, so we'll see how it goes. We haven't made it. I think we're supposed to shoot music video for the first single, in a week or 2.
Oh wow! All right, cool.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna go freeze our asses off somewhere in the mountains and shoot some outdoor.
Right on.
Yeah, so the song is called Warrior Queen. You heard it here first.
Warrior Queen, this is it. Breaking news. Warrior Queen, official music video by Visigoth. You heard it from Jake Rogers right here. Yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
So that should be. I think that's. I know we have to make a video for that. I don't know if we're making more. I guess we'll find out.
Very cool.
When Metal Blade sees the video and goes, "Let's not put these guys in front of a camera again." Yeah.
Nah, man, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right, well, Jake, man, I really appreciate it. It's been great talking to you, and I really, really respect your candidness, with being willing to talk about some things that you weren't necessarily keen on talking about. But, hey, everybody out there, there's a lot of different things going on in the world today, and, like Jake opened up, he is he's rocking out, man, and, he's got MS, doesn't hold him back a bit. And, there's a lot of folks out there, and, we've got a lot of friends, that, are dealing with that. Autoimmune issues seem to be rampant anymore. And
that's what Conquerors Oath is about, man. That's what the record is. Is swear to yourself to follow your goals and conquer the hardships that life puts in your path, man.
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, Jake,
so that's what we'll do.
Well, stay healthy, and everybody, make sure you go out and pre-order Conquerors Oath. And we will be we'll be on the lookout for.
Listen to it first and make sure you like it, and then spend your hard-earned dollars on it.
All right, and will they be able to get this in vinyl?
Yeah.
Awesome.
There's some European pressings and a North American pressing. So it'll be vinyl, CD, and digital download if you're into that.
Yeah. No, it's all good. It's all good. Well, Jake, thanks again, everybody. We're here with Jake Visigoth. Dude, you're on your way to Vegas. Have a blast. Be safe.
All right, man.
Cool.
Thanks a lot, Scott. It's been a pleasure.
You got it. Definitely. Later.
You're welcome.